Did you ever wonder what would happen if Gabi missed Eren's head? Or what if Erwin, instead of Armin, ate Brechtholt and inherited the Colossus Titan? Or even better, why did Ymir wait 2,000 years for someone to end the cycle of the Titans? Well, I spent a long time researching these topics, and here's what would happen. The impact of the gunshot caused a change from the previous state of the Founding Titans. Before Eren used his Founding Titan form, the average Founding Titan looked something like this. But what happened? Well, since Eren got shot and his body left his head, he turned into a bunch of bones to fill in the gap. But if he hadn't gotten shot, he would look something like this. As you can see, it's very similar to the Attack Titan form, but way bigger. There would most likely be bones in his hips and have flesh jaws, just like before. According to my research, Eren's original Colossus size reached an insane 600 meters in length, which already makes him one of the biggest beings in history. Yet, if he had not been shot, his transformation would have taken a whole different path. His new form would be 10 times bigger, tenfold that of the Wall Titans. This not only makes him the biggest being on the planet, but also gives him extreme strength. More on that in a bit. Eren being that humongous makes the Wall Titans look like dwarves, becoming almost like Godzilla amongst them, with even the walls seeming like a little obstacle in comparison. The implication of this? His size shows the effects of gaining full control of the Founding Titan without any interference. With just one step of a foot, he could destroy what 20 Wall Titans could have done. But there is more to it than just having a colossal size. His form would prove his strength, but crucially, this would also give him a level of agility and combat capability that the original Founding Titan form does not have. Eren's beast would not be limited to the sluggish movements associated with its original form. Instead, it would have the remarkable ability to walk around the landscape with a lot of mobility. This lets him actually defend himself against other Titan shifters and warriors, which is something that he couldn't do before. This makes it way harder to defeat the Rumbling, since it isn't just the Wall Titans doing all the work. Eren would also be able to attack and destroy, and mixed with his incredible size, would make him almost invincible. The Survey Corps, in their effort to confront Eren in his new Titan form, would quickly realize they were powerless. I mean, they couldn't kill the original. How would they kill this one, right? He would be able to repel every coordinated attack launched by the army, with everything being completely ineffective. As for the Titan shifters, the Colossal Titan, despite its immense size, stood very small in the face of Eren's huge height. If he wanted to attack him, let's be completely honest, he wouldn't last barely anything. Even Reiner would find himself outmatched by Eren. The Female Titan and the Jaw Titan also would be irrelevant against Eren's defenses. Even Zeke, the strategic mind behind the Beast Titan and the one who gave him the powers, wouldn't be able to do anything. It was too late now after all. In this alternate reality where Eren's form can walk and attack normally, the Alliance's strategies, especially Armin's plan to destroy Eren with an explosion, would be quickly shut down. Why, you may ask? Eren's swiftness not only makes such plans way harder to even do in the first place, but also the hardening ability would leave Eren unaffected. Just like the Founding Titans of the past, who are able to defend themselves due to their slim and fragile bodies, Eren's colossal form can actively respond to threats. This would really complicate things, as the Alliance would have to think of a different approach to end the Rumbling. Landing on Eren's shoulders, as done in the actual story, would be a nearly impossible task. The increased mobility would make it way harder to land on, and that is assuming Eren doesn't notice. If he did notice, he would quickly destroy them out of the sky, and even if they did somehow land on him, the reinforcement of his shoulders through the hardening wouldn't let them get inside. The normal method of breaking into the neck would now be impossible for the Alliance to do. Therefore, in the face of Eren's Founding Titan form, the odds of success for any attack grow slim, almost impossible. In this world, the grim reality that he would ultimately fulfill the mission of the Rumbling became more true as things progressed. As the Alliance is not able to defeat him, he continues the Rumbling, destroying the entire planet. The only thing left to do for them is to beg for him to stop. However, as we all know, this wouldn't work out. Previously, he had summoned the subjects of Ymir, where he told everyone his plan of destroying the world. He revealed he was on a mission to complete the Rumbling, and no amount of asking would get him to end it. Now, you may be asking what happens after all this. Well, long story short, everyone outside of Paratus dies from the Rumbling. The whole world population other than Paratus, gone. With a Titan form so powerful, Eren will likely become the leader of the island. However, this wouldn't end here. A civil war between the Jaegerists and the Eldians would most likely break out, leading to the death of even more people. And if that wasn't enough, the environmental issues would make almost everywhere inhabitable, and would lead to the destruction of the island. Despite having so much power, Eren would be depressed and would live his remaining 4 years in despair. There are still 2 scenarios left, and the last one will blow your mind. Why wait 2,000 years? This is the question that's plagued the hearts of fans after seeing the tragic ending of the popular manga. As the creator of the Titan Path, Ymir has the power to influence any and all Titans across time, even Eren. She is not bound by the war-renouncing vows that impact royal blood Eldians such as Zeke. Couldn't she have freed herself much earlier? Well, I believe that Ymir sincerely loved King Fritz, and out of her devotion, gave her life and legacy for the king. I mean, she jumped into harm's way to protect him after he abused her, and the rest of the world through her powers. Could it be that she loved him to the point where it was impossible to let go, and the idea to walk away just became too repulsive to consider later on? It isn't clear what happened to Ymir as she decides to side with Eren, who carries out her plan to end Eldian suffering. While on the subject of Ymir, no pun intended, did you ever find it strange how she got her powers? From what we know in season 7, everything started with an unlucky ordinary girl whose grave mistake was to steal a pig from a wicked king. As fate would have it, she falls inside of a strange tree after being chased down by King Fritz's soldiers, and is infused with an alien-like organism shaped like a spine. But where did the tree come from? I mean, if we assume that it has always been there, then it might mean that the Titans had always existed, instead of assuming that only Ymir's interference with it is the sole reasoning for their awakening. After a lot of research, I found that the alien-like organism, also known as the source of all living matter, looks a lot like a hallucigenia, an ancient species of aquatic lobopodian worm from the Cambrian period. You can really begin to see the resemblance when Zeke talks about it during his discussion about the origin of life. The only other times we see the source of all living matter are when Gabi shoots Eren's head off, and when Jean decapitates Eren's founding titan with explosives. As for the tree, the final chapter shows a second one grown to resemble the one Ymir Fritz stepped inside before being turned into the first titan, with Eren's head buried beneath it. Does this mean that the power of the titan still lives on? Did the Survey Corps really win in the end? I'll leave that for you to figure out. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. What would happen if Erwin inherited the Colossal Titan instead of Armin? Well, shifters make for good soldiers, but not the best commanders. The Beast Titan can at least talk in its Titan form, but all the Colossal Titan has ever been known to do is push out a lot of steam and kick holes into walls. Erwin would need to hang back in battle and assess the situation before hashing out any orders. This puts one of the biggest cats on the back burner and wouldn't make too much sense strategically. I don't see Erwin using the Colossal too often. Since Erwin survives, this would mean Armin dies. The death of his friend, coupled with the upsetting knowledge of life outside the walls, would only irritate Eren more so, making his need for revenge only a matter of time. With Erwin as the Colossal Titan, maximum damage is ensured when the Survey Corps launch their attack on Marley. Instead of hanging back and feeling guilty like Armin does in the original timeline, Erwin would go on to meet Eren in the heart of the city and help in his fight against the enemy. With Erwin's insane battle IQ and Eren's impulsive fist, the two take home the W, defeating all the warrior titans. Instead of just leaving, Erwin and Eren would use this opportunity to take as much titan powers as they can, destroying any hope of future counterattack for Marley. Even though Paratus Island now has all titan powers, their safety is only temporary as the outside world continues to see them as a threat. This builds up to the big question: would Erwin support the rumbling? To quote Eren's chief in command, Floch, Erwin is a good leader because he is a demon who is willing to do anything to succeed. If you are willing to follow his orders, there is no doubt of victory. This is the same commander who recognized the best way to capture Annie Leonhardt was to corner her in the bustling populace of Walsina. Commander Erwin would not approve of Eren's rumbling. In fact, he would be furious at Eren's naivete in the obvious bait that is laid by Willie Tybur and the Marleyan government during their declaration of war. However, he uses the rumbling to further his own agenda. He ignorantly follows Eren's plan only to have killed him after enough countries on the mainland have been wiped off the map. Erwin easily allows Eren to get his hands dirty for the rest of them in order to keep his home alive and safe for at least a little while longer. Erwin being alive doesn't change much of the story, but it does serve as an explanation for Eren's actions without the needed private conversations he has with his friends after his defeats. Erwin figures how to use Eren's insanity to secure the safety of Paratus Island. As Floch had believed, Erwin's ruthlessness and willingness to get blood on his hands would advocate for the freedom of Paratus. If you are curious specifically about Eren completing the rumbling and would like to see a more in-depth explanation, you can watch this video on your screen right now. See you there!